What does it really mean for an AI to think? Today, we're diving deep into interview.net, Docker. The containerization competency gap is the single greatest predictor of a .NET candidate's ability to ship. Docker mastery separates reactive coders from reliable delivery engineers. Strategic hiring now requires assessing portable, reproducible runtime thinking, starting with the interview itself. But here's where it gets interesting: the works on my machine failure. Conventional interviews test algorithm fluency in a vacuum. They ignore the environment where code must live, deploy, and survive. A candidate who cannot reproduce a runtime will stall any CI/CD pipeline. This is a production readiness blind spot. So what's the real problem? Let's talk about environment drift is the root cause. Manual SDK installs, OS-specific NuGet caches, and .NET version fragmentation generate invisible inconsistency. Each machine becomes a unique, non-transferable snowflake. Drift compounds across teams, wrecking onboarding velocity and release confidence. Interviewing without container hygiene validates drift instead of competence. This raises a critical question: containerization, the definitive correction. Docker enforces a single, immutable contract between code and its environment. A Dockerfile is the ultimate answer to "show me your stack." It captures OS, .NET Runtime, dependency graph, and startup logic in one artifact. This collapses it built in dev and it runs in prod into the same truth. Now, let's zoom in on system model. Docker Engine plus Image Registry plus Orchestrator form a delivery operating system. For .NET multi-arch images, Windows Linux container parity, and SDK Dart-Inti separation. The model is define once, run identically on any host. Here's something most people overlook: core artifacts for .NET. Base images, mcr-microsoft.com, build, and ASP.NET run. Multi-stage Dockerfile decouples compile time heft from production surface. Image container registry pipeline guarantees exact versioning. A candidate's Dockerfile is a system-level design decision, not an afterthought. Think about this for a second. Containerized delivery workflow. Code SDK image build, publish artifacts, copy to minimal runtime image push, to registry deploy. Every step is recorded, hash verifiable, and repeatable across interview machines and cloud clusters. This pipeline replaces vague, "I think I used .NET 6" with cryptographic certainty. And this is where things get complex: immediate impact on hiring signal. Docker first interviews reveal deployment literacy, not just algorithmic fluency. Candidates who containerize their solutions demonstrate awareness of runtime boundaries, multi-service coordination, compose security-conscious image sizing. These signals predict velocity inside modern .NET teams. But here's where it gets interesting: interview patterns that expose depth. Tasks optimize a .NET image from 2 GB to 150 GB using multi-stage builds. Introduce health check endpoints and non-root user configurations. Debug a broken container with Docker logs and ephemeral shell access. Success in these patterns marks the shift from nose-C to Elms delivery. So what's the real problem? Let's talk about from container to cloud-native competency. Docker fluency is the entry point for Kubernetes, Dapper.NET Aspire, and serverless containers. Orchestration manifests, sidecar patterns, and automated scaling build directly on container primitives. Hiring for Docker today seeds tomorrow's platform engineering capacity. This raises a critical question: before, after the container lens. Without Docker, fragile machine-specific demos, hidden dependency errors, long environment setup in interviews. With Docker, a standardized, shareable runtime snapshot. Instant Docker compose up end-to-end tests. The interview becomes a mini production simulation, not a stage-managed recital. Now let's zoom in on hire for the ship signal. Docker competence is a leading indicator of production maturity in .NET ecosystems. Make containerization a first-class signal in every technical interview. The goal, assess not just what candidates write, but how reliably they deliver.